Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, my name is Taylor and this is Benter's Bookshelf. So, I did something kind of nuts and I decided to super challenge myself. So, the popular A to Z reading challenge where you try to read a book starting with each letter of the alphabet over the course of a year. I have decided to do over the course of a summer. So June, July, and August is the time frame that I've given myself to do this challenge. And this is part one of vlogging that. So this will be covering all of my June reads for this challenge. I've split up the 26 letters to try and kind of equal over the 3 months. So I've got 9 that I'm trying to read for June, 8 that I'm trying to read for July, and 9 that I'm trying to read for August. So this being part 1, I have letters A through I, and I am really anxious but also really excited because the books that I have picked are ones that are super popular ones, booktube favorites, and ones that I've been wanting to get to for a long time. Kind of trying to work in books that I was already planning on reading this month into this challenge as well. And I am ready to get on it and get to reading. So without further ado, let's read A to Z. Okay, so I am one chapter in on The Apology Project, and my initial thoughts are I want to see where this goes, as well as, damn, this character is major stick up the butt. Super hard ass lawyer lady. That is my first impression so far. I've only read the first chapter, so that's all I have for you right now. But yeah, let's see where this goes.
the maid of the honor.
Oh, really?
Maid of honor.
Oh.
Maid of honor.
I would love to be the maid of honor. Can you imagine? That would be amazing. Oh my god. We're here for the vibes. It's a vibey type of a thing, you know?
Yeah, exactly. It's not like, it's not the best written film of all time, but the songs, though.
The songs are, yes. Okay, so I finished The Apology Project, and it was so good. I immediately texted my sister, and I was just like, okay, here's another book that connects to our family that you need to read. So, needless to say, 5 out of 5 stars. Absolutely amazing. I cannot believe that I've had it sitting on my digital shelf for literal years without being picked up, and it was a 5-star read. That has very much like ignited a more urgency in me to get to my own TBR more. Stay tuned, because I am now working that into a project. But absolutely loved it. Like I said, 5 out of 5 stars. And it wasn't even the main plot line that I loved so much. It was the subplot, which was all about her dad being adopted and them doing the 23andMe DNA test and finding out their heritage and connecting with biological relatives. It was just wonderful and kind of spooky, because it was my exact experience when that happened with my dad and me and my sister 2 years ago. Like, I was reading my own story on the page. It was so crazy, but it made it a fantastic read. So, oh my gosh, what an experience. Okay, so Bunny. I am, where am I at? I am not that far. There we go. 45 pages in. And really, all I have to say is this is so beautifully written. Like, I could read the writing of this book every single day of my life. It is that well written. And I'm interested to see where the plot goes. I've heard that it gets weird. I've heard that it is like sorority cult-ish stuff. But honestly, the way this writing is so far, the book could be about anything and I'd want to read it. Okay, so I just finished chapter 11, and I seriously think that I underestimated the insanity of this book. So I knew this book was insane. It's loved by Kayla from Books and Lala. It's loved by Katie Colson. Has to be insane, right? Um, this chapter was a total, like, all around what the fuck chapter. The what the fucks started small, just little mutters of, like, what the fuck? And then they gradually got louder to normal, full voice, what the fuck? And then I was screaming, what the fuck, at this book. All in the same chapter, all in chapter 11. So, yeah, shit's getting crazy. And I had to take a break for reading after that chapter. But I'm loving the ride so far. And, like, once you get on this ride, you can't get off until the end. Like, I have to know. I have to know. Guys, Bunny is insane. But oh my gosh, it was so good. I can't give it anything but 5 stars. Like, I think I know what happened. And I can't say anything because spoilers, but there are so many theories about this book online, and there are so many different theories. And of course, everyone thinks they're right. I think I'm right. But I think I know what happened. And this was written so well. Like, yeah, I don't really have anything else to say. 5 stars. So good. Good morning. So I just finished chapter 5 of Can't Spell Treason Without Tea, and I'm loving it so far. So we are following Rhaena, who was a royal guard to the queen, pretty bitchy queen, and her girlfriend Canthe, who is the Arcander, which is like the greatest mage type character. And they have just basically deserted their posts and decided to start over in a new place and open up a bookshop that serves tea. We're at the point in the book where they've arrived at the place and they've made up their plan and they're ready to get started. This is totally giving me Legends and Lattes vibes so far, and it is so cozy, but it's also very like it's very detailed. It's very well fleshed out so far, which I think is part of my issue with Legends and Lattes, which I still loved. I gave that book a 4-star. But I think if it had the same amount of detail and the same feel, I guess, the same depth that Can't Spell Treason Without Tea has so far, then it would have been a 5-star. So I'm going to predict that Can't Spell Treason Without Tea is going to be my 5-star version of Legends and Lattes. Hey guys, okay, so last night I did finish Can't Spell Treason Without Tea, and it was everything that I wanted. It really is like a more like fully developed Legends and Lattes, and I absolutely loved it. 5 out of 5 stars. Will recommend it to anybody and everybody. It was so, so good. And I apologize, I didn't do a very good job of vlogging this one. I mostly read it in bed. I've been having trouble sleeping, so I've been reading this book in bed and just didn't have my camera. And obviously my husband was sleeping next to me and my daughter, and yeah, that doesn't need to go on camera. But it was amazing. I absolutely loved it. It was super cozy. It's higher stakes than Legends and Lattes, but definitely low stakes compared to full-on fantasy novels and full-on like high epic fantasy. Way lower stakes than those, but more action than Legends and Lattes. Okay, so I am about 65% through The Dead Romantics. And I don't have a whole lot to say so far, which is why I haven't updated yet. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. I don't get the hype yet. So yeah, like I said, about 65% in, and hoping that it really picks up in this last, third of the book, because I really don't get the hype. Like, it's not a bad book. It's not a bad story. I just don't see what everyone's raving about yet. Okay, so obviously I'm doing laundry, but I did just finish The Dead Romantics. Now, about this book. So, it was recommended to me by my friend Christina as one of their favorite books. And I've seen it kind of everywhere on like Bookstagram and BookTube. So super hyped, right? So I'm giving it 3.5 stars. And my reasons is I definitely think it was overhyped, at least in my opinion. And I totally called where it was going. So this is supposed to be a rom-com, right? About a ghostwriter and her editor. Editor is supposedly dead, and turns up as a ghost, and they start to catch feelings, blah blah blah. So this is spoilery here because I don't know how to talk about this book without being spoilery. So spoilers, spoilers, spoilers. Okay. I totally called that he was in a freaking coma. And I'm sorry, but that is like the most cliche thing, super soap opera thing that they could have done. And the rom-com plus soap opera just didn't work, at least for me. And I have to wonder if maybe the people who super enjoyed this book, maybe they didn't grow up watching soap operas. I did. My grandma, back when the soap opera All My Children started, she started watching it, and then my mom watched it with her, and my mom continued watching it. So my sister and I ended up watching it with both my mom and my grandma. So I'm very familiar with the soap opera tropes, and the whole coma thing is probably the most cliche one. So it was disappointing. I think the premise was good enough that it could have been so much better if it had gone in a different direction. I did not like where it went. I mean, it wasn't a bad book. It was a decent book. Definitely deserving of the 3.5 star rating that I have given it. I'm glad that I read it. I'm glad that I saw for myself what kind of book it was, and I can now recommend it with more accuracy for what a person is looking for, for that kind of recommendation. Okay, so I didn't update at all while reading Eleanor Oliphant because I couldn't formulate my thoughts. It's actually been 2 days now since I finished that book because even when I finished it, I couldn't formulate my thoughts. So here's what I have to say. It was a decent book. I enjoyed reading it. I enjoyed aspects such as the relationships, friendships that were formed. I enjoyed the little bit of the plot twist that there was. And I believe it was a good representation of the mental state that it was trying to portray. However, it doesn't really stand out to me. Like, I don't have any fancy words, I guess, to describe this book. It was good, it was decent. It was very generic for me, I guess. It was just kind of a generic experience. So I'm going to go ahead and give it a 3 star and move on. Okay, guys, so I finished Finlay Donovan, and it was different than what I expected. So I I had no idea that the murder, the hit in this novel took place so early on, and that threw me for a loop, but it wasn't a bad thing. So, where the story ended up going, I did really enjoy. And I feel like it did a good job setting up the story for the next book. Like, I really want to read the next book now because I really want to know, like, how what happens and why. And yeah, it left off on a kind of a cliffhanger, but I'm not mad at it. So I decided to give this book a solid 4 stars, and I will definitely be picking up the next one.
So I'm uploading footage for a vlog, and while doing that, I have been listening to A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, and I just finished part one, and it is so good. This audiobook is fantastic. It's got a full cast, and like the interviews actually sound like she's on the phone. It's great. Highly recommend this audiobook. But I'm really enjoying the story so far. So we have our main character, Pippa, Pip for short, who is doing her senior project, like a senior thesis, and she chose the topic of the disappearance of a girl in her town 5 years prior and the subsequent unaliving of the missing girl's boyfriend. And Pippa doesn't think that the boyfriend did it. Doesn't think that the boyfriend made the girl go missing, who has since been uh, declared dead, even though they've never found a body. So she's basically doing her like own investigation as her project, and it is really cool. I'm totally hooked on the story, and I don't know. I know this is a series, so I'm sure it's going to end on a cliffhanger. But it's so good so far.
Hey guys, so just a quick little update. I am finished now with part 2 of A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, and I have started part 3. I don't have a whole lot to say because I don't want to spoil anything. Just know that I'm loving this book. This audiobook is fantastic, and I just want to finish this book. I I want to know. Hello. I finished A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. Absolutely loved it. 5 out of 5 stars. A wonderful YA mystery thriller, total page turner. It really kept me guessing until the end, and it wrapped up so well and pretty completely too, which is interesting because this is a series. So I'm definitely intrigued to see where the series continues on from here. But if you don't want to read the whole series, I definitely think you could read this as a standalone and not be left with like any questions. But it was just so, so good. I understand the hype on Bookstagram and BookTube about this book. But now I am setting my A to Z challenge on the back burner. This weekend, I am participating in a weekend readathon as well as going on a trip with my family. And those things will be in their own vlog, which will be up before this one is. So I will link it here in the corner as well as in the description box if you haven't had a chance to check that one out. And then come Monday, I will be right back into my A to Z challenge. Hello. Okay, so this morning I started The Homemakers by Mary Kay Andrews. Now, this is a rom-com and it is about a woman who was widowed young and works for her in-laws, like contract company. They do home remodeling for clients and things, but she is also wanting to restore houses in her area of Savannah, Georgia, and preserve the history of the town. Well, she has bought a house that she grew up living across the street from, and it has turned into a money pit. And not only her money, but her father in law's money and the money of his company. So, to make up for that, she is participating in this HGTV style reality show. And so far, it seems like it's going to be a little bit chaotic because it seems like the original show idea that was pitched to her that she got on board for is not actually what the show is going to be. So I'm excited to see where it goes. I'm hoping this one's going to be a pretty quick read. I'm already like 15% into it. So, yeah. over 3/4 of the way through Homewreckers, and I am loving it. So, this book is marketed as a romance first and then a mystery. And I think it's the other way around, to be honest. I feel like the mystery is definitely taking the spotlight in the writing, and romance is kind of coming in second. But I'm loving it. This is my first Mary Kay Andrews book, and I I hope the rest of her books are as good as this one, because she will be an auto-buy author for me if so. So I'm going to work on finishing this up. I have lasagna in the oven, and that'll be done here in about 30 minutes. And I am hoping to get through the rest of this tonight. I have that much left out of this whole book. I also have the audiobook, which I was listening to while I was making the lasagna, because to my 9-year-old's surprise, I bought ingredients for lasagna, not a pre-made frozen lasagna. She has that at other family members' houses, and this is my first time making it for her. And yeah, she was not expecting me to make it from scratch. Okay, so I finished the Homewreckers, and it was super good. I am giving it 4.5 stars. So this is, to me, much more about the mystery than it is about the romance. And that's not a bad thing. I thought the mystery was very intriguing, and I enjoyed following along as the clues sort of unraveled for our main character. I also loved the HGTV vibes that are all throughout this book, and the bit of romance that there is involved, I fully support. I support the two characters getting together. So I don't think you could really ask for much else, you know? I mean, I do think that it didn't need to be quite as long. Let's see, this was how many pages? Yeah, this was 437 pages. And both for mysteries and for romances, that feels a bit long. I think this would have been much better if it landed around the 350, 375 mark, which is why it's not a full 5 stars. And yeah, I am excited to now put this on my red shelf. Yay! It is very nice to be able to move books from my TBR shelf to my red shelf here. Hey guys, so I am back doing my A to Z challenge now, and I started In the Lives of Puppets this morning. That's by TJ Klune, and not only is it my eye pick for this challenge, it is also the book club pick for Lexi's Patreon book club for the month of June. I'm so sorry. I don't know why I'm shaking so much. I'm going to try and push through this book. I'm really not liking it. I am about 20% in right now. And so, first things first, This is a supposed Pinocchio retelling. It is sci-fi, it is adult. However, it has robots. I don't like robots. Um, it feels like a middle grade, but with adult language. And that, and the addition of the robots, and just some of the like conversations and stuff between characters so far, it just all feels ridiculous. Okay, thought I'd give a little update. I'm currently hiding from my children to film this, so I will make it brief. I am just about 50% through In the Lives of Puppets, and I'm still not loving it, but it has gotten a smidgen better. So I'm gonna go ahead and push through. I think it's probably going to be about a 2.5-star rating if I had to predict at this point. But I am interested to see where they are taking the current storyline. I am now in part 2 of 3 of the book. So we will see what happens. And yeah. Okay, so I finished In the Lives of Puppets, and 2.75 stars. It read like a middle grade with adult language. It had robots, and I don't do robots. I wasn't really interested in the story, although I will concede that it does read like Pinocchio. So the Pinocchio retelling aspect of it was good. Yeah, I just don't think it was for me. I am not going to let this put me off of TJ Klune. I do want to read House in the Cerulean Sea and Under the Whispering Door still, just from the synopsi, whatever, of those two. I think I will enjoy them a lot more than I did In the Lives of Puppets. All right, guys, that is it for the first part of my A to Z challenge. So I am just even more excited now to continue on with this challenge, even though it has been exhausting and I'm kind of vlogged out. I am committed to this, and I've found so many good books. I've read a lot of super popular ones so far that I have been meaning to get to, and it's just been a really awesome time. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Ring that notifications bell so you don't miss part 2 when it comes out at the beginning of August, and then part 3 when it comes out at the beginning of September. We are going all the way through the alphabet here. So I will see you guys in my next video, and yeah, bye.